G'day guys, welcome to another Fair Dinkum episode. Today we had a very special guest. We had Burak Sarman on. We spoke a little bit about what it's like to be a 17-time jiu-jitsu champion. We also spoke about his upbringing and hardships and dealing with them and what he does to kind of like get in the zone before a fight, after a fight. Also, we had a bit of a rant about coffee. So if you're into that coffee stuff, you know, this is the episode for you. Welcome. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the episode. Take care.
And then I came back, and then a few weeks later, someone rocked up with like a weed key and a black belt, you know what I mean? And then he's like, "Oh, you the coach?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the coach," you know? So do you want to train? I go, "Yeah, all good." I go, "You want to train?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, jump on." I go, "Just but take the belt off, man. Like, take the black belt off and wear this belt," you know what I mean? I gave him a white belt. Because it wasn't jiu-jitsu. It was like a Jack Kondo or some other martial art. So, and then he gone, "Oh, he was training," and I partnered him up with another coach that was on the mat. And then they're drilling, and then I'm like, I think I gotta fix this guy up today in my head.
Humble him.
Yeah, but big boy, like a big boy, and he's done martial arts, so.
Fair Dinkum. Just butt in, say what you want, or if somebody's having an opinion, and you kind of go, actually, but hey, did you see it like this, though? You know, it's like a convo, bro. Basically,
it makes sense, bro.
I don't know if Ashraf probably already explained it to you.
No,
I sent it. Just
that was good. That like, I like that about it. It's not like it's structured, but it's freedom within the structure. It's even me. Like, I plan my classes. Like, all my classes are kind of planned in the curriculum. Like, I got my own curriculum design at the academy, but it's freedom. Like, if I feel like this week, this class, let's change it up, depending on who rocked up, what happened, how people are feeling. You got to be ready.
100%.
You know what I mean?
There's too much rigidity. If there's too much rigidness.
Yeah, it's too formal, bro. Yeah. And you see Rogan, you see the top. That's what makes them successful, I guess. And you guys.
Are you a podcast guy? Like, are you a podcast kind of person? Do you listen?
I don't know, bro. Yeah, I do. Like Rogan, I've listened for years.
Definitely Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan for sure. For years.
Because when you said Spotify, I'm like, damn. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Black belt in two different things, or
he's
just
black belt in jiu-jitsu and he's a kickboxer, but he's got his black belt similar time to mine, actually. Like, I think a year before me or something. So
you got a how old?
I got a 21.
You got a 60 something.
But he's Joe Rogan, bro. Like, he's a brain. He's a brain. Because it's crazy how he's genuinely having discussion with everyone, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, what about Joe Rogan do you like other than the actual podcast side of it? Like, what episodes you
I believe genuinely he's curious.
Yeah.
And he actually, he seems sincere on the mic. I think that's why he's over nearly 2,000 episodes,
Bloody hell.
Something like that.
Yeah, bro. And I remember I watched how he started. It's crazy how he started.
Are you there from day?
No, I didn't watch it from back then, but I knew when he used to commentate, when I first got in 2009, when I started training. Remember, he was like just a commentator. He had hair and stuff. But he's a legend, man. Like, you actually can learn a lot, I guess, in those podcasts. I guess, you got to be, I guess, you know what to take, know what not to take. But he's genuine, man, and he's with everybody, man. Like scholars, authors, athletes. He's got everyone on the podcast.
That's I think the whole objective of getting a podcast is like, hang on, I don't know something. I really want to know about it, but I want other people to know too.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? But how do I do it within like the confines of being open-minded and beyond that as well, giving the platform to the right person to speak about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's our objective, at least.
Hopefully, like, the right Muslim will show up one day too on that podcast.
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
Inshallah, like you've seen, bro, and like Jordan Peterson and stuff. He's been on there a few times.
You've seen Jordan Peterson, Mohammed Hijab and stuff. Is that why?
Yeah. I've seen that. Like,
what do you think?
Hamza Yusuf's one was spot on. I think that was like they all did well except for one guy, but
there was a third one.
There was 3 Muslims went up.
Yeah.
Was
there? I'm pretty sure, but he was like left-leaning Muslim. If I'm not
wrong,
right.
I didn't.
Yeah. So that's why he got. What's
smart.
His name?
He got in first, and then he got Mohammed Hijab.
And
then he got the two Ahl Sunnah ones.
And Mohammed Hijab was like very like adamant on coming on because of the fact that the way that he portrayed Islam and he's a left-leaning.
And then Hamza Yusuf coming in as well with his approach, and he's a revert, and it was amazing.
Having a revert, like it's like that background, and it was beautiful. Just I
personally think he presented it the best way possible, bro.
Yeah.
Like
that's what Mohammed Hijab was lacking that Hamza Yusuf had, because his whole ideology of like how can you accept a religion like Islam knowing that, like,
It's a
because
bit lower,
Hijab
man.
was born into Islam,
Move it around if you want.
whereas Jordan Peterson, what's his name, Hamza Yusuf wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where his curiosity with death and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he speaks about that car
I believe
accident.
so.
I think it was good. Mohammed Hijab had the intellectual side of things, like, you know, some of the words
He was just
using.
not hammering, but he was going for the cure.
It was
in
like a
way.
debate.
Yeah, but Mohammed Yusuf was just having a conversation, sharing his experience.
Beautiful.
That's what I felt, and that's, I think, is the best way to preach anyway. Like with your actions and with genuine conversation.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience all over
And
the
even
world,
age,
wherever I
like
was.
they can relate, like they're not too far from the different age group. Like Mohammed Hijab's a young guy, it's like 30.
I get where you come from.
And then
He's
he's like-
more energetic, and he
And
doesn't.
then Jordan Peterson's like your life experience. Hamza Yusuf goes, you know, I've
Yeah.
been, you know.
Hamza
being-
Yusuf also uses like references like Jordan Peterson does.
Yeah.
Like he use like I don't know, contemporary lessons, or for example, he used Johnny Cash lyrics to kind of put across his point.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever watched any of his videos in the past where he talks about traps of shaitan, or he does those things where he does the purification of the heart. That one's crazy. Like the amount of
I've
things.
seen a few, but no.
He has like this 10 hour on the man Ashraf.
20 hour.
Wallah. It was
20
like 20
hour.
hours, yeah.
He's amazing, bro. He's amazing, bro.
Yes, so makes a lot of valid points, subhanAllah. Obviously, like, I don't think there's anybody I fully agree with 150% of the time in regards to human beings.
No, you
We all have flaws. Everyone does some wrong things. But in regards to the element and knowledge, I don't think anyone can kind of go, yeah, this guy's got no clue about what he's saying.
Nah, you can't, bro. And we're not at that level to judge them as well. And
True.
they have a big burden on their shoulders. And we don't look at them as persons, but we look at them as what they're representing. You know what I mean? In the day, they're speaking the Quran and Sunnah. They're not like,
Making
it's
it
not
up.
their own ideas. That's what they actually, that's what probably keeps them on their toes. That's why they probably make mistakes if they add their own opinions. But mashallah, man, like everyone talks. Everyone says, man, I should say this. Should say that." Like,
Yeah,
you're not at that level to talk. Let the scholars talk.
exactly.
And
And
yeah,
in the
bro.
moment, bro, it's difficult. In the
easy.
moment, it's difficult. Wallah, when you're sitting there,
That's why being genuine, having that genuine conversation, I think is the
There's
best.
nothing.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that Hamza Yusuf's one works so well, bro.
Yeah.
And you can see Jordan Peterson's
And-
emotion and his everything. As
And
well.
their speaking styles are the same as well. Like,
You
for
noticed that,
example,
yeah?
there was like some awkward bits in the episode where Hamza Yusuf would not speak and
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson would not speak. And then he'd be like, I thought you were finishing off a sentence. And there would be like this awkward silence. It's like, and then there was a couple of times where Jordan Peterson said some like dad jokes. And he went over Hamza Yusuf's head and he just goes like, sorry, like I didn't find the jokes funny.
Respect. It's respect.
Yeah, it's a respectful thing, the communication.
And I think they're genuinely listening, because you know how sometimes you talk
yeah.
and then you're like, the other guy's just waiting
Yeah.
to say what they're going to say instead of just listening.
definitely.
And we all make that mistake, but it's just like, we got to listen, man. You know what I mean?
It's hard for a lot of people because, for example, Mohammed Hijab comes from a debating background, and then Hamza Yusuf also comes from a lecturer background. So we have sometimes some sheikhs on.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's hard to see how me and you were jumping in the conversation. We know when to kind of. A sheikh is just used to a khutbah, 45 minutes, no interruptions.
Yeah.
Question answer, yeah.
So it's like that kind of thing. And then Mohammed Hijab also comes from a background where he's trying to find you didn't use the right word, so I'm going to use that against you. That's his background,
Yeah.
you know?
And the brothers in London, I think they're like that.
Mm.
The way they do their thing is boom, 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 boom. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I think Hamza Yusuf's approach is very different.
Yeah.
It's experience, man.
And I think in this day and age, bro, it's genuinity, authenticity. People are for this.
Yeah.
If they sense this from you, I think you can do a lot of good work for Allah, you know? Like, that's what it
If
is.
we're going to talk about genuine people,
Yeah.
I think the person we have to start with is Burak Sarman.
No, I'm the last one on the list.
Bro,
The
you
last
said,
one.
so you said 2009, before
Yeah.
you were chatting, you said 2009 you started BJJ?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't, because we used to play soccer, you played footy then. Were you playing outdoor then?
I was playing soccer back then, yeah.
Okay.
I was playing soccer too, yeah.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Where'd you used to play?
I used to play Hume United.
No.
Yeah.
That is
Behind
OG.
the Broadmeadows Mosque. I
Yeah.
used to live actually across Broadmeadows Mosque.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you any good at soccer? Like,
No, I was playing left wing, left back, and then
You went
bench, off the bench, inside. I had fun. Yeah.
You weren't a Light
Yeah,
United
fun.
player? You're Hume United.
Hume United, yeah.
Okay, not the
So I
other.
didn't go to Shik.
Yeah.
It was a
Didn't go
social
there.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually my mum put me in because so we moved from Turkey back here. 7-year-old. We had some family issues in Turkey, so we moved back for mum, and then my brother And then we had some other things we can go and maybe we can touch upon them later. But and then my mum just finding a sport to put me in and put me in soccer because it was like first, the mosque was the first getaway. And then because it was right behind the mosque, it's like an activity.
It's convenient.
So it was convenient. And then soccer was cool. Everyone loves soccer, you know.
100%.
Everyone thinks they're Ronaldo when they're playing. Yeah, that's what it was.
You're from Turkey as well, bro. It's like
Yeah,
a national sport,
bro.
The Fenerbahce or
Yeah, they
Beşiktaş,
we think we're the best, but
Which one?
it's
Which
not
one?
like that.
What team do you support?
I have a jersey of Galatasaray. I have a jersey of Bursaspor. I'm from Bursa in Turkey. Don't follow it, but yeah, back in the day I was a fan.
You're trying to cause civil war in your house.
Yeah, but so I don't fully follow, but I respect and look up to some of the soccer players in Turkey.
So how'd you transition? Because I was about to say, like, I didn't think BJJ was an option. Maybe because I wasn't my community back then, but I feel like 2009, like,
Yeah,
BJJ,
it wasn't that big. It wasn't
because
as flashy as it was now.
obviously before that I was in primary school and we used to do karate like
Yeah.
on Fridays, and you guys probably had the same experience. It was like a big
Yeah,
karate
taekwondo.
thing back then,
Yeah.
taekwondo,
Yeah.
and then BJJ. Like, how'd you get into that?
So BJJ, grappling, jiu-jitsu, submission wrestling, these terminologies just like some people call it just UFC. Like I do UFC, you know.
Yeah.
Back then, like my generation, hardly anyone knew what it was. And then my coach's generation, Murat, hardly nobody knew. You know what I mean? Nobody knew, literally. Maybe you could count with hands how many brown black belts there were, you know? Remember stories they used to see like a blue belt, a purple belt. They're like, wow, man, there's a blue belt, there's a purple belt, you know? That's my coach's generation. Then my generation, again, 2009, not many knew what it was as well. It was very small, especially in our community. And then, one day I went and I used to watch WWE a lot when I was young with my brother.
Class. Who's your favorite wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, like Goldberg and
This guy's OG.
Goldberg.
This guy's OG.
Yeah.
This guy's,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's gone
Those
back.
that
He's gone
WCW.
back to WWE.
You know, my dad looks like
WCW.
Goldberg.
Yeah, I used to think my dad looked like it too. You know? And then
Jeff
Goldberg.
Hardy?
You know, there's Jeff Hardy, but Scott Steiner. You guys know those guys?
Big Papa
Yeah,
Pump.
yeah, yeah, bro. So that's actually we touched upon it in my documentary. It was cool.
That
And
was WWE
yeah.
Sunday.
yeah, I used to actually never watched it live. I think
Yeah.
it was all from cassettes.
Yeah.
We used to rent it, and I used to watch it at home.
We couldn't watch it live though because
Yeah, we never. Yeah, it's
because of the
true.
time difference,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I never had like the TV I had with my mum. Like it was like a small, like a box TV.
Yeah.
And
Alhamdulillah. You weren't a Foxtel kid basically.
no, I wasn't. But I was like, wow, man, they're actually watching it. And like, at school, everyone's talking about
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, and like he went on. And I'm like, what? Look, you know, I used to watch the old ones like 10 years before that because that's what I was borrowing. I wasn't up to date.
Yeah, that's WWE
I wasn't
Sunday.
up to date, and they're like telling me this happened, that happened, and I'm
We
like,
had the
fuck.
golden generation.
Yeah.
But wallah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, bro.
Because I watched it through.
Foxtel.
I had Fox, alhamdulillah, but we had
Foxtel
the
Kid,
bootleg. Don't give me the cover.
Yeah, yeah.
We had main event. We had main event for free on that one.
See?
Yeah.
The funniest thing was there was one Royal Rumble event that came up, and Chris Benoit ended up beating Big Show in the.
Yeah, yeah.
But we were so gassed about
Used
how
to do the
good that
flying
was,
Headbutt thing. Yeah.
because we taped over my mum's wedding video with that the
No.
Royal Rumble.
Oh,
I swear on my life, still got it at home, wallah.
oh, that's crazy,
My
bro.
mum laughed. She was,
I used
bro,
to-
she's just laughing.
Yeah.
Wallah, she wasn't even upset.
Wait, your dad condoned that?
I didn't care. My dad cares
It was
about
with you
wedding
guys.
videos. My dad's like, she's still here. That's a bonus.
So
That's crazy, bro.
But yeah, wallah,
You don't want to miss it.
I still can't get over it, wallah, because it was the maddest thing, yeah, because we were like, obviously in hindsight now, Chris Benoit's dead
Yeah.
because he ended up
Yeah.
killing his family and whatever. But
Yeah.
so I don't condone what he did. But,
that was the LUFC back then, basically.
but yeah, no,
But it was cool because we entertained you, man. And I thought it was real. I was defending it, you know. I was saying, nah, it's real, man. I think, you know. I remember like I was 7, 8, 9 years old thinking it was real.
Was
You
it
know what I mean?
what moment did you realize that it was fake? Like everyone remembers that moment.
Oh, I don't know.
Mine had to be
I
when
can't remember, but
you know when Rey Mysterio's mask got ripped off.
oh yeah.
Like throughout his whole career, he had his mask on, and then when they ripped it off, I was just like, nah, I can't watch this show.
Yeah, probably that moment. I don't like. There's a lot of moments, I guess, but yeah. And then I was 13 in 2009, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to wrestling. My family friends like, I'm going to wrestling. Oh, what is wrestling? It's cool, man. Like you know. And then I went there, and it wasn't the wrestling I expected. You know, it was like a small jiu-jitsu club with a low-level instructor, but it's like it was interesting, you know. And then I got submitted a lot, and I was like, wow, man, this is cool, you know. I want to do this to someone, you know. I want to be like this one day.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't your basic wrestling. Because you were getting locked up, you were getting submitted, and you're like, wow, man, look what you can do with the human body. And I didn't say that back then, but it's, but it's like, wow, look what he did to me, man. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't do nothing. And then, like, I was a skinny kid. I was athletic a bit, but I was skinny and kind of weak as well. I was getting bullied, I remember, clearly. But then it's like, I know who bullied me too, you know, all these things, but no one knows who they are now. Yeah, I do. Some actually became my student for years. But then I never told them anything, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, but they probably can't remember it. I remember it. You know?
They can't, trust me. They can't,
And, but they're good blokes now. But, and then I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And then that's it, man. I remember, like, it was like I was telling people, tomorrow night I'm going, like Tuesday night I'm going back to wrestling. I'll start wrestling. I started this. Yeah, and then Video Easy, I saw like the UFC DVDs and stuff, and I'm like, and I watched the UFC and I'm like, what they're doing what I did the other night. I was like, and I started telling people I'm doing UFC now. You know what I mean? Because people didn't understand it.
Yeah.
What was the first one you rented? What UFC? Are you talking Gracie days? Are you talking?
Yeah, no, not that old. That's my coach's generation.
Yeah.
But my generation is like Joe St. Pierre, Damien Maya. I remember Damien Maya, legend of Jiu-Jitsu, he was there. He was like, and I actually met him in Wales when I was in Wales a few weeks ago. Yeah, and like a month ago. And then I was like, wow, he just submitted someone. He's doing what I learned. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I'm learning this. You know what I mean? I was like over the moon. And that's it, man. Now, fast track.
Because you said you're a skinny kid, you know, like you were getting tapped out a lot. Did you feel like you were naturally talented at BJJ? Like in the first couple of years, we'll say?
Everyone was saying that. So I've kind of felt that because everyone was saying it. And I was learning quickly because I just loved it. And I was pulling off and I was catching up to people really quickly. But I just I found something, man. I feel like I found something. I just wanted to be good at it. Yeah, man, it was just so enjoyable because I think I was always searching for a getaway. It was soccer. It was the mosque first, soccer. But the mosque was always there. Soccer, and then I found jiu-jitsu or wrestling. So it was like, wow, man, it was cool. And then I'm like, I want to get good at this. I just want to get good at this. At school, I'm thinking about it. Everywhere, I'm thinking about it. It's just...
Do you ever find the origins of it? So, like, how did we get... Like, we're an island. If you think about it, Australia, bro, all we're in the bottom of the world. Every time we travel, we see someone who's like, what the... You come from there? Nah, no way. We're at the bottom of the world, you know, on our own island. We're drifting away. How did a sport originating in Brazil, all the way on the other side of the world in South America, how did that come here?
So look, this sport is originally Brazilian, but I feel like when you look into history, this sport's way beyond. Like, it's ancient, you know what I mean? And like beyond our Prophet as well, like way back then. And then I think because it's like unarmed combat existed since the start of the earth. Because think about it, there's no weapons, and it's like we have no weapons, we're going to have to, you know what I mean? And the fight can't end, yeah? They grab a rock, maybe they hit each other or something like that, but it's not always like that, yeah? So the fight has to end somehow. What are they going to do? Pin them on their shoulders and then the fight ends? You know what I mean? Wrestling, the rule is if your shoulders pinned, that's it. You lost. If you drop, like let's play drops, you know, in high school, you drop them, you lose. But back then, you got to put this guy away. You got to demobilize him. You got to strangle him to death, or you got to joint lock him, break every limb, and then leave him alone. Or like, how'd they do it? There has to be submissions. If you think about it. So I feel like it's from back then. People say it's from the 90s, and then the Gracies, of course, evolved it. They did a lot of the Brazilians evolved it a lot, but then Japanese jiu-jitsu, there's sambo, and then these are all grappling arts.
Definitely.
So they made it mainstream.
Yeah, made it mainstream.
Well, they organised it.
So the story is a popular story. You search it up, like Royce Gracie, 1994, goes into the UFC. They pick him because he was the skinniest guy, the weakest guy, looking guy. There was Hickson, like Pedro Sauer, my coach's coach, and we're directly friends with him. He was there in the Gracie train walking out as well. Like, they could have picked anybody, but they pick Royce Gracie, the weakest guy, to prove that jiu-jitsu works, and he just puts everyone to sleep that day, you know.
Unbelievable, yeah.
But
SubhanAllah.
Japanese before that, so you can't just limit it to that. It's an art that's been existing. That's what, like, a guy, does Khabib do jiu-jitsu, or heck, what does he do? Yeah, of course, he does it all. Like, it's not, the Russians call it sambo, you know what I mean? The Brazilians call it like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but it was jiu-jitsu. But the art is grappling, submission grappling, submission wrestling, wrestling with submissions. And yeah, so even now, you want to be the best in the world, like, you have to be you have to be a submission grappler.
Yeah, even the word submission tells you
that's what it
everything,
is. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not made like UFC. You see it all. But that's what's made me. That's one of the things. And then it's a big sunnah too, like wrestling. So, and then you go, wow, man, look, they had submissions, man, because they had to use it in war.
Yeah.
And I believe that. You know what I mean? Of course, maybe there isn't proof of it directly. But if you think about it, it has to be submissions.
Logically.
It has to be.
It has to be, yeah.
But if you look deep down into the narrations, I'm sure we'll find hadith, you know.
There's hadith, There's a lot of hadith.
There's a lot of hadith on wrestling, but not specifically.
Like what forms or anything like that. But they probably did it just for brute strength, to get stronger, to get that competitive edge, to learn techniques. You know, you probably know most of the benefits of it. Like
you know, the famous story, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, he puts the guy down and he's about to kill him, and then the guy spits on his face.
Yeah, I've seen that. And he goes, I'm not going to kill him.
He goes, and then he's about to kill him, and he spits on his face, and he stops to kill him as his sword's up. And then he doesn't kill him. And he goes, why didn't you kill me? He goes, because I was going to kill you for the sake of Allah. Because you spat in my face, my nefs got involved, and now I have to kill you for myself. So I walked away, and the guy becomes a Muslim after that, So you're thinking, he takes the sword up, and he's about to kill this guy. How does he control him? In the middle of war, what technique does he use to control him?
Form out.
You know what I mean? It could be anything, bro. So it's like, you're like, he must know a lot of technique. It's not as basic as holding someone down.
100%.
So there's a lot of things, hints, of course, but we're not, you know what I mean? We're not scholars to narrate it, but logically, rationally speaking, that's what, I remember as a kid, it was like motivation, like, man, this is ancient, it's real, it's unarmed combat, it's this. It's like, with no weapons, you know, you can be the strongest man in the world, you know? And like animals hunting and all these things. I used to think I was like a tiger or a lion or something when I was that age, you know?
When did you...
A lion there.
When did you switch from, like you said, the first couple of years you were a bit talented up, but when did you, because there weren't, like you said there was brown belts and purple belts around, you know?
Not even, yeah, exactly.
Then how did you switch and say, hey, I want to fast track and get the black belt pretty much as soon as possible?
I never said that.
Okay.
I just said to myself, I want to be good. I want to train, and I want to get good. I just want to get good, and the rest just happened, bro.
Were you the youngest?
I was the youngest in 2017 when I got my black belt. I was the youngest Australian at the time, and then a few years later, one young kid got it, another kid got it after me. So I was the youngest at the time.
You also, sometimes like when you start at 13, when someone else starts at 11, all these things.
Yeah, so that kid that got it, he was starting when he was 4 years old, 3 years old. So I got it when I was 21, turning 22. So the youngest Australian black belt to date, till 2017, end of 2017. But now the generation's evolving. Like, I got students training. He started with me when he was 4, now he's 12. I got a student when he's 11, now he's 18. He's coaching at the gym, you know what I mean? So it's like, generations, the next generation will always be better than
the previous
So
generation.
you never also had your eye on the goal? Like, hey, I want to get my black belt?
No, it was, I want to be really good. I want to be the best. And it was, the motto of my gym is journey matters. The journey matters. That just happened naturally. Like, I never even thought about that. But when you look at it, when you look at my journey, I think it speaks for itself, because I never deep down, all my close circle knows, my family, like, I never thought I'll be this one day or that one day, or I'll, you know. Of course, you want to be a world champion. These goals are always there, you know what I mean? As you want to be the best at what you do. But I never thought one day I'll live off this, or I'll do this, I'll get my black belt, I'll get this. No, I knew it will come, you know what I mean? I knew I'll get my, like, I remember I did something cool and my coach threw my yellow belt on me. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like I did something cool. It's like, your yellow belt. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, automatically.
2 months into training, he chucks the yellow belt on me. I was like, man, that's cool. Yeah. Now I surprise all my students.
By throwing it on.
I don't like tell them they're grading. I just surprise them on.
Because of the feeling you felt that day.
Yeah. I saw the video. I was watching my brother and I used to watch it before he left, and I was rewatching today, and I thought now I wanted to ask you like that. I see the feeling how emotional it is when people get their belt. Obviously, for someone that isn't into BJJ, it's like if for example, soccer, if I score a goal, like no one cares. If I get, there's no like progression. But how emotional people get when they move belts. Why is it like that? Like,
bro, for me is as a coach, I think it's a responsibility for me to make it memorable for my students, and as a young coach especially, because I could relate to them a bit more, I guess. Because I wanted that surprise on my one, and whenever it was a surprise, it was like an unforgettable. But whenever it wasn't a surprise, it was like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I would try to make it a memorable, special moment, but still not neglecting the element of testing them and observing them and them earning it as well. So they earn it, bro. We're not gifting them anything.
Yeah.
They all earn it. We just give pass it to them. That's why like I don't charge for gradings or anything as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just try to make it memorable. And you're like, what will make it more memorable? Just make it more touchy, get him a bit tired, I guess, and then talk to him and get him more tired. And then, because when people are tired, their true character comes out, right? And and then you catch them on that moment, and the tears come. Anything happens.
Yeah. So you were looking for the crying members.
But I don't But to be honest, I don't plan anything, bro. And I've never been that way. But I always consult my next move. I mean, I don't plan, but I consult every move I've taken since I was a young kid. Maybe because I didn't have a father, like growing up, like the family relationship my mum and dad had, the divorce, etc. Since I was 7, I never had like a father present. And then I seen him again after 15 years, So it's like I never had that, but I always consulted. Like either my close brothers, a scholar, a lot of scholars, or like older people I looked up to in different fields. So I always consulted every step I took.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's always good to have somebody there, because honestly, like, it takes a village to raise a man anyway.
Exactly, bro.
And if you're part of that process for a young man who's in your gym, you can only imagine how much benefit that will have, not only for your akhirah, but also for that kid's future. And it doesn't really need to be in a situation similar to yours. Sometimes they just don't, they don't look up to their father, or they don't rate his opinion on certain things. And you giving them that, that other avenue to consult, like you were saying, would be actually very, very beneficial for their development. But I don't know how open you want to be about that situation, just your whole upbringing and basically, like you were saying, living without a father or a father who wasn't present per se. What ways do you think that affected your development as a man?
Bro, when you look back at the time, you feel like it's the biggest problem in the world, and you're like, no one's going through what I'm going through. And then you're like, man, like, you just go far out, like, you just look into everything, and then now when you look back, even though it's tough to look back, you go, okay, like, without that experience, you won't be who you are today. That's just the fact, Without that hardship or that trauma, you won't be who you are today. And you look at anyone in history, you know what I mean, and they've gone through extreme hardship to get to where they are. And then I'm like, man, no one's gone through this ever. No one will ever go through this hardship. But then you go as an adult, you go, you know what? Everybody faces their own hardship in their own way. Allah tests everyone in their own unique way, and everyone's test is extremely hard for them. So if you put yourself in my shoes when I was 7, you won't handle it. You know what I mean? But if I put myself in your shoes when you're 7, I can't handle it either. Or let's say, because that kid didn't experience it when he's 7, just like me, but he's going to probably experience it when he's 15, 25, 30, 35. He'll be extreme test at some stage of his life. Maybe my extreme test hasn't come yet either as well. Yeah. So it's tough, but it makes you the man you are, you know what I mean? And like I said, you don't plan, you trust. I guess instinctively I trusted my qadar, Yeah. Because your qadar is not, like the qadar of Allah is when you pass away, the goal is to pass away the way Allah wants you to pass away. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're done. Okay, did you become the Burak that Allah wanted you to become, like, let's say. And of course, we're not going to reach that level, you know what I mean? But that's the goal, yeah? So it's like all these experiences, I guess, are there for me to become who I'm meant to become. Just like for every other individual. Because I used to make a mistake of, well, no one's been through what I've been through. If they did, they'll understand me. No, not really. You know what I mean? It's tough for me, but it's tough for everyone. You know what I mean? So now I look at it like that. And it's like, would you have it any other way? You wouldn't, because then you'll become a different person today. You know what I mean?
When did you adopt that mindset? Like, I know now
Recently,
you're looking at
very
recently, yeah?
Yeah, bro.
Was there like a moment was it with your father returning or something along those lines?
Yeah, I catch up with him here and there, but yeah, it's not the same, of course. Yeah. But again, as an adult, you know what I mean? You don't know what he's been through, you know, etc. as well. So, but I think I adopted it. Like, I've been married for 3.5 years and have a 1-year-old. And alhamdulillah, I've got a very supportive wife.
Congratulations.
I think that will play a big role in it as well, naturally. But I think looking into it, because if you don't deal with your trauma, it eats up on you, I feel like. And I found ways to deal with it in a lot of different ways, whether with consulting and speaking to my brothers, my family, my wife, or getting assistance, whatever. You have to deal with the trauma. You got to know how to look at it, or else one, you can eat it on yourself, and you could just eat up on everyone. You could just be a judgmental person, bro.
Yep.
True.
But like, it's just a divorce, really. It was very hard, of course, growing up without a father, etc. But end of the day, bro, people go through way worse. You know what I mean?
They do.
But still, if they go through way worse, but it doesn't mean my one wasn't hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like may Allah protect our parents, but like, let's say they pass away, but I still have mine. But they're both hard, bro. Like, you know how people say, oh, but I did this in that situation. But I'm not you, bro.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And Allah created all of us unique. All our qadars are unique and planned, bro. Yeah, Allah planned everything. So it's easy to talk, of course, but when in the moment, we're all like...
I think, one thing...
You know what I mean?
Like what you were
and
saying...
I haven't figured it out, bro. Like, I actually haven't figured it out. I trip out, bro. When I look at my past sometimes, I get affected. And my wife will be like, getting affected again.
Yeah.
You know? I thought I had it under... Well, you never have it under control.
I think one thing that I've recognized is a book that I read. Salah, I've not given an F. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it before. It's an orange book. Might be in the orange section.
The art of,
the art of, yeah. So he basically says in the book that there's people who deal with OCD, and what happens is when they have, because their OCD brings on trauma and like it's a problem that they have to deal with whether they like it or not. It's there. They ask, like, is there going to be a time where I ever live without this problem? Is there going to be ever a time that I live without having to deal with these constant thoughts or this trauma that's like, it's sustained in my past? And they say no. Think of it as like a stereo. You can't really turn the stereo off, but you can lower the volume. Yeah. So that's like something that's helped me in things that I've done in my past or things that I've experienced. It's like, okay, I understand this. Because it rears its ugly head at the wrong time, and sometimes, like you were saying, it could be something that sets it off, then you end up taking out your trauma or your pain out on others, because you're letting it eat away at you. But the crazy thing is, it's like, that it's a problem. It's not like you're going around saying, I'm doing this and everybody else should deal with it, because that's when it becomes not only bad on yourself, you become a bad person, but the people around you don't want to be around you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like, you went through the worst thing in the world. Everybody else has no problems. But you don't know, in the eyes of Allah, my car broke down. All right, is as big as someone's, parents divorcing, for example. You don't know. I'm just saying. Like, I'm being a very extreme example, but in terms of hardship or testing, maybe that's hard for him. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
We're made differently.
But that's
of course, some are extreme, I guess, but like that's the thing, like.
Definitely, bro.
But that's a massive win in of itself. Like, to touch upon what you guys both said, is a lot of people go around not acknowledging their trauma. They're trying to find the fix to their trauma.
It's true.
You know what I mean? And acknowledging that you have trauma, first of all, like, Allah Barik, now that you've acknowledged the trauma in your past, you can at least say, like, that was the way that my family was back then. Alhamdulillah, that was the qadr for it.
That's it.
But now that I've got a daughter and I've got a wife, I'm not going to go and implement that trauma into them. So then later on they grow up,
Exactly, right. And then doesn't mean my son is not going to...
Sorry, your son.
No, sorry. Doesn't mean that it's not going to get he's not gonna get tested. He's gonna get tested, bro.
Yeah.
His qadar is written. He's gonna get tested, and let's see how Allah tests him. But my job is to prepare him as much as I can from my experience and from the teachings to present him to the world. You know,
How great is it to know that the one who has our lives in his hands is the one with infinite wisdom.
yeah, man, no.
You know,
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
it's like
SubhanAllah.
if I'm a Muslim and part of being a Muslim, the word is submission. Yes, submit. Submit to what? To His decree.
Yeah,
So what basically Allah put you in a test, and you go, okay, let's see where you go. Let's see how you take this. You can either pass, you can either fail.
yeah, bro.
You know, and one that's kind of like it settles me, especially when I'm in a situation where I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed about what's going on or whatever it is. Like you look at it and you go, oh wow. So wait a second, you're telling me the one of infinite wisdom, the one up, like the one that has
Yeah,
the clear picture of everything from the start to the end of time, has decided that this is gonna happen to me. I'm gonna be against it, saying he made a mistake. Nah, he didn't make a mistake. I just need to figure out a way to alter my situation
yeah.
to what he's decreed, you know?
It's true, bro. Like we feel like we're in our 20s and we feel like we've got it figured out in a way. You know what I mean? But it's like, imagine what else we have to learn. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And we're gonna learn till the day we die. But it's like, but I actually genuinely believe I haven't figured anything out. I just like I haven't a clue because of my experience. But even though I have that clue, even when it comes down to practice, it's very hard to apply, bro. And a lot of time we can't apply. You know what I mean? Like you go, oh man, it's just another chapter. It's qadar, and then you look at it, and then, but we still can't apply it. You know, it's tough.
How does that link to, like you say, I don't know, I only know through my experiences, and there's still so much to learn. Like you say, like you're an infant, like you have white belt mentality for life. You're still so new, and then you go and you have your own gym, and then people come to you as their role models. People come to you for life advice and BJJ advice. Like, how does that? Do you feel like sometimes I'm not even equipped to answer some of this?
Yeah.
Or is it mainly just BJJ? It's not really external other
Bro,
areas
even,
of life.
we do, like, of course, bro, like, people come talk to you. Like, I open the door. Like, I open the door for that as well. Like, a lot of youth come. And, like, my best friends are my students, you know what I mean? And they're not my students when they're my best friends, you know what I mean? My best friend's like my brother, you know what I mean? And we work together. We run the gym together with him. But you know what it is? It's like service, duty. There's, like, not a scholar, of course. I'm serving the community because that happens to be my occupation. You know what I mean? I didn't choose it. I didn't plan for it, but it happened to be that way. So naturally, you have the responsibility. You have a burden on your shoulders. No matter how what you're going through, you know what I mean? Do you make mistakes? Of course you make mistakes, bro. But it's like, oh, I'm the man. Like, no, there's nothing like that. You just happen to be there. You're privileged by certain things. You know what I mean? I'm privileged in a situation and with an occupation like this to serve the community. And, you know what I mean? I'm making a living from it, and inshallah I'm assisting more lives and even more. But it's like, it's nothing special. It's not I don't know, it's not sacred, bro. And it's not sacred, or it's nothing like, man, I got to make sure I'll be perfect. One, you can't be. Two, it's like, I didn't choose to be there. Allah just privileged it to you. Is it a burden? Yes, it is. Would I not want to do it? Probably. Like, I wouldn't want to be on the spotlight. You know what I mean? And then when you compare it to other figures, it's like, you're nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we are actually nobody, man. Literally. Like, I remember I was in Japan, and one brother, like, I was with some, I went to compete in Japan, and I stayed at the mosque, and I stayed with some boys there. And one brother's like, man, he goes, we're up in what was the highest tower called in Tokyo? The world's
round
highest.
one,
The one, yeah?
Yeah.
We're up there. He was like, man, look. He goes, look at the humans, yeah? And then he goes, look. He goes, imagine we go up to the sun, we'll look down again, and then we'll keep going up and look down, and look. It's like we're just not even a dot, like, yeah? And we're thinking we're something. Literally. You go, man, without me, you know, Romanos wouldn't be the way it is, or this wouldn't be the way it is. Or, like, you got no clue, bro.
Yeah,
literally.
100%.
And when you think like this, and we can't think like this all the time because we have a nafs. But when you're constantly surrounded by people that remind you of this, inshallah, we keep at it. But, bro, it's not like, it's like Allah gave it when I didn't kind of want it as well. I never wanted to be in that position. But, And now it's here.
Yeah, to that manner,
It's
bro.
a manner.
It's
And
it must be harder because you're also trying to compete at the same time.
yeah.
It's like we got Basha on and we're chatting to him. He's retired now.
Yeah, I want to watch that
And
properly.
it was in like the last couple of years he's been pushing his academy. So he's doing his academy and then he's not really playing anymore. So that kind of that's his only priority. You're trying to compete
Yeah.
at the top of your game,
Yeah.
and then you're also trying to help like run your business and then train people.
Yeah.
Like in kind of, two different goals.
It's tough, bro. And I feel like I burnt out a bit. Like my recent performances, I could have won and I lost certain fights. Alhamdulillah, I did a good performance and I reaped the rewards from it, of course. But I should have won, you know what I mean? And not in terms of qadar and everything, but in terms of performance and the matchmaking and everything, like had it under my belt, you know what I mean? But it's like things don't happen the way we want it to happen. But I feel like when you look at worldly reasons beyond destiny, it's like, okay, you put a lot of weight on your shoulders. You got to learn to let certain things go. And you got to be a professional, you know what I mean, in a lot of aspects. So you got to know when to be who to be when.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very important. And I feel like I'm starting to understand that. I thought I had it undercover, but then I lost recently again. And although my loss became like a win in the eyes of a lot of people, like I was like, wow, I didn't win, bro. Like, what's this? And then it's like, okay. Yeah. And then what was I saying before that?
I kept thinking everything you're saying, it channels back to your ego.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
here I think BJJ or grappling is the martial art that teaches you about your ego. Where, for example, we'll have someone that's boxing or UFC, and he'll come and he goes, I have to, every time I walk in to the ring, the octagon,
Humbling.
whatever it is, it's like, I'm the greatest, no one's going to stop me, and I'll kill you if I have to. And then here you're like, everything you do is pretty much humbling you. It's like there's no ego, it's just,
But it's the perspective.
Yeah.
It can be the opposite too.
A bit opposite, yeah, I was going to say that.
It can be the opposite, and it does be the opposite sometimes. You know what I mean? And yeah, I was saying, like, being a professional in every aspect. Like, I go home now. It's like it's not work time.
Yeah.
I'm here, so I'm not working. You know what I mean? I can't see this as work. You know what I mean? I see this as a service. I see this as time to bond. Of course, you don't chill too much because you're under the cameras and stuff. But it's like, okay, I'm at work. And then there's aspects of work. Like when I'm a businessman, or when I'm teaching, when I'm a coach, when I'm an athlete. You know what I mean? When I'm having a meeting with my coaches, when I'm doing this, etc., and then international stuff. And it's like, man, you got to know when to be who. And this is so hard, bro. This is so hard, and then you make mistakes. You do certain things. You're just going to keep making mistakes, and then you figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
From the outside, it looks like, man, it's so figured out. But I'm just at the start of my journey, I feel like. And then you compare yourself to the greats, you know what I mean? And then you go, man, I'm nothing. Like Ali, and then like Khabib right now, and then like Basha in the country, and then you got so much examples to look at. And when you compare yourself, you go, man, I've actually done nothing, and I'm struggling this much. You know what I mean?
I think you have the right idea. I remember you were telling me, like, when you go home, you can't watch UFC.
Yeah. I'm trying that.
Yeah,
I'm trying, but I do, bro.
Like, the funniest story is every time I see Basha, I'm like to him, bro, you've been watching the footy? He's like, no.
See that?
He goes, nah, never.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not even interested. He
I
goes,
saw
bro,
he's fishing and stuff, so
Yeah.
he's got some hobby. He's got to figure it out.
Yeah,
I
he
got to
has his
find my
hobbies.
hobby. Yeah.
Loves the fishing.
like, the one thing that
Need
I've
some
learned,
advice from him, maybe.
nice, bro. If you want, bro, I can link
Yeah,
it up,
inshallah.
inshallah. But one of the greatest things, like I ever learned was compartmentalization. I know these boys are going to do my head in about it now. But
I haven't heard this one in a while, but I love it. I was trying to bring it up on the last episode.
But yeah, just compartmentalizing your life, yeah. So when you see things, like for example, when I'm at work on 9 to 5, I'm sahil there. When I leave, I don't speak about it to no one. Nobody, like, even ask the boys. When I'm here, I'm speaking about whatever we're doing here. Whenever I go to, for example, I go home and I'm with the family, I'm just me. I'm this Suhail. I'm just that bloke there. And then whenever I come back here, I'm feeding. Whenever you know what I mean? Everyone tries to, like, for example, I'd be at an event, and part of the event is that I'm representing the company that I work for. But then people also know me from this. So I'll kind of like, I have to find a way to kind of like separate that. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you very much. But have you heard about this?
Yeah.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
So, bro, with 9 to 5, it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. And then like it's not easy to separate it because people love especially if your job is your passion. When you go home, it's gonna spoil out. But when you're self-employed and then you have a business,
You're your brand.
yeah, I'm a brand,
Yeah.
and
No
also
switch.
and then my brother we work together with my brother now. He came on board later on, and he made a massive chance. He's one of the reasons why I'm actually aiming so high. You know what I mean? And he was gonna come tonight, but he couldn't make it.
Oh,
Inshallah next time. But
yeah, definitely.
and so like then you hang out with your brother, let's say your best friend, yeah. You're having a coffee, and your brother's like, man, let's not talk about work.
Yeah.
Let's have this coffee. It's so hard, yeah. And then you have those fights and etc. So but then you learn to teach each other. But then you stuff up again. You know what I mean? But you actually genuinely want to have a coffee without talking about work.
Yeah.
And when you do, it's an amazing feeling.
What's your go-to coffee, by the way? Just on the coffee topic.
I love coffee. I have a strong latte, 3/4 full.
Yeah, he knows his coffee.
Yeah, and when we were lighter, we'll have a magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the early morning sometimes have a
He's got it, bro.
double
Do you
espresso.
know Magic is only a Melbourne thing, by the way?
Yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
Piccolo, yeah.
Yeah, Piccolo Magic's they're only like an
Yeah.
Australian thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you an interesting story. I knew Melbourne coffee is really good, but my coach Burak introduced me to it really. And then the next level was when I was, because I used to train in Coburg, and that's where the good coffee shops are, Coburg, North Coburg.
Debatable, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but now I know.
Go to
Like,
a hipster place now, bro.
I know all the good ones. Hopefully I know. But even if I don't know, I'll go to
I got
the
you.
better ones. But I was in New York, in Manhattan, and then a guy that used to live in Sydney but lived in Melbourne temporarily, he's like to me, he's a black belt too, and he's Turkish, and then he goes to me, you know what, I'm going to take you to a coffee shop, let's have good coffee. And then we're walking in Manhattan, and it's like, okay, we're going, then we look at Starbucks, it's packed. And right across Starbucks, we walk into the coffee shop right across Starbucks, we just walk in. It's like a nice hippie kind of style place.
Family owned
Yeah.
type one.
And then we walk in, it's like, this is the best coffee shop. And then it's like, what is it? Because this is Melbourne specialty coffee shop in New York. And then, yeah, it's
They
they
branched
made a Melbourne specialty coffee shop. I don't think it was called that, but that's what
Yeah.
the guy we spoke to, the baristas, and wow, man, like, I have the best coffee in the world in Melbourne. I knew it, but I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah.
And then I just got into it, man. And then like Ollie and Ollie and all
Yeah.
the boys there.
It's crazy because like it's in front of Starbucks. You said
It's crazy.
Like recently, I was like watching a documentary on how like Starbucks was successful in every country in the world except like Australia and specifically like Melbourne.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that like the culture here is so crazy that they wouldn't go to the corner store and grab like a Starbucks from there.
Yeah.
They rather like have a family owned one on each like little corner.
With like roasted coffee.
Yeah,
and
proper roasted.
specialty coffee.
Bro,
yeah.
our 7-Eleven is better than. You've been London, yeah?
Bro, 7-Eleven, you can't have coffee there, bro.
No, I'm just saying, man.
No, I know what you mean.
Bro, like
Coffee, but I could talk about coffee for hours. That's
you
one
know
more
when
hobby.
you're in London? You know when you're in London?
Yeah.
Did you go to a coffee shop?
Yeah, found good ones, yeah.
What did you find, like Costa's, or did you
No,
go to a proper?
Melbourne. There's specialty coffee shops in London.
Yeah.
Branched out from here.
Oh, but they're from here.
Some are from here, some are there, but they're really good in
Yeah.
London as well.
You
Yeah.
just gotta look.
They learn from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They copied the models from Melbourne.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then there's amazing shops. There's some interesting clips where people go around best coffee shops in Sydney, best coffee shops in London. You
Is
watch
that
it,
like
it's cool.
reviews?
Yeah, let's
How
start.
many coffees do you have a day?
Max 2, sometimes 3.
Do you ever use it as like a pre-workout kind of
No,
caffeine,
no,
or is it just for
I
enjoyment?
enjoy it, bro.
Okay.
And the thing about coffee is you never have it extra hot.
Yep.
But our parents are different. But some,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's but a lot of people are different.
When you say extra hot, you mean like enough that you can sip it?
No, it's like when you touch the cup, it shouldn't burn your hand.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the Melbourne culture. Like you just ask Ollie this question, but it's like you grab it in your hand, it should be holdable, so
Enough,
you
yeah.
enjoy it. It's not too hot, too cold. It's in the middle. It's not warm either. It's like a
Yeah.
bit less than warm.
Yeah.
So you just enjoy it, purely enjoy it, not to have it for hours and you know what I mean?
Because our parents developed it from tea. That's what they do to tea.
Yeah,
So then when obviously they got introduced to coffee.
Yeah, I love tea as well. That's a different spot.
Like
you
you're
know what I mean?
Turkish.
Yeah, I love
true.
Turkish
The
tea.
double-decker kettle. You
Yeah.
seen them ones?
Yeah.
They're funny.
Coffee,
man.
bro, it's just amazing.
It's
yeah.
a lovely
Yeah.
topic.
Like, I'll drive for good coffee. And
Allah
I
Akbar.
do.
Do
Yeah.
you have like a list of coffee
Yeah,
spots?
yeah, we have to see
Yeah,
the list.
yeah.
I have to see the
Don't
list.
you have your
wanna
own
say-
coffee shop at the
Yeah, so that's another thing. We have Black Cactus coffee. It's
the
actually
gym?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And
Did you say
it's
black
like
cactus?
Black Cactus coffee. Yeah, we
It's
call
right
it.
next to the gym.
Yeah.
Like literally right there.
I think that's in my list of coffees.
No way.
Yeah.
How? That's our shop.
He's typing it now.
So at the front of the
No,
gym.
he's got a list of 160, so that's
Oh, nice. We've got to go, man. Let's do a
We'll definitely
let's
do
do a
like
vlog
little,
episode. We'll go.
a little
Is it
review
all-
and everything.
Done.
Nah,
Okay.
like
But
that.
no. So we have a small coffee shop at the front, like
Yeah.
a specialty coffee shop. We always had the idea, but lockdown inspired it because lockdown we couldn't operate.
Mm.
So we're like, what should we do? Like I used to be a barista at uni, but I wasn't a specialty coffee barista.
Mm.
But then like Ollie and the boys, they taught me,
Started from
and I kind of advanced a bit more.
yeah.
But and then we started it with my brother, and Ollie worked there a lot too, and then we built a specialty coffee shop at the front of the gym. Now it operates as a
Actual.
as a
Yeah.
cafe, you
That's
know,
sick,
you know.
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's so cool, man.
We
It's
can-
just yeah.
We can speak about coffee for hours.
I couldn't keep going, but it's just I feel like it's like a zone out.
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to a friend, and because like sometimes men have issues of focusing, but I'm a bit more. I have issues focusing because I deal with so many people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's so hard sometimes. And I remember someone's like to me, "Get your coffee, smell the coffee,
Yeah.
and smell the coffee, and notice where you are.
presence.
Notice
Be present.
where you are. Be present.
Mm.
So when you walk into the coffee shop, wipe your feet and walk in, because it's like, because that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes, it can change your day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wallahi, it
But,
does.
so it does all the time. But sometimes I go, I just, it happens a lot, by the way. I just drink it. I go, man, I couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
And I hate it. You know
that
what I mean?
exact same thing happened
Yeah.
to me where like I use coffee as a fuel for everything in my life to the point where like Ashraf was saying, like I used it as my pre-workout.
Yeah.
So what happened was when I used to go to a cafe, I didn't get the same enjoyment from the coffee because of the fact that like I'd have to go like extra strong or something just to get the hit
You ruined it, yeah.
rather
Yourself.
than the flavor and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
first sip and everything. And it's the funny thing is like coffee shops in Melbourne is a lot of it is like the aura and the environment
Exactly,
that you get
bro.
from it.
Exactly.
You know? Like nothing's better than like having a long week and on like a Saturday morning heading to a coffee shop or something like
Yeah,
that. Just
exactly.
snip,
Yeah.
You guys have a problem.
Every Sunday morning, I take my missus and my
Apparently
my
some
son
people
now.
will call it crack addicts though.
Yeah.
It has the same effect as
It's actually
anyway.
like every Sunday morning I go to like sometimes Market Lane, sometimes a few other one shops.
Yeah.
And
Don't say too much, then your fans will start following you around.
nah, I'm not that big. I don't think I'll be that big.
Or if not, one of your enemies will come around the corner and call you out
Put you
outside
in a
the cafe,
headlock.
bro.
No, it's alright.
But nah,
Yeah, but that's the thing, bro.
I've got a tactic.
I could
Fine.
talk hours.
I'm telling you, I've got a tactic of how to find out where the best coffees are. I'll tell you about it.
Now they go.
If you go to a shop and at the front you can't tell whether or not the guy's a girl or a guy.
There's good coffee.
Class.
Good coffee.
Class.
And then you know where you'll find all of them?
Brunswick, Fitzroy.
Fitzroy,
Guys,
Collingwood,
I'm
all
telling
of that
you.
kind of stuff.
I walk in there and I'm like,
Oh, you know you're having good coffee if
Yeah.
they're a bit awkward.
And
a
another
bit
tip
funny.
and another tip on top of that is if they overdo the lighting and like the whole like they got neon lights and all that kind of stuff, a lot of it is done on the physical aspects, how it appears. The best ones are the ones that look rough and
subtle.
Yeah.
yeah, they look
Industrial,
subtle.
yeah?
Yeah,
Like
the
that, the
industrial
paint's
type
not
ones.
perfect. And I think, it's the day and age now, it's authenticity is becoming very
Yeah.
out there, and I think it's leading towards
Yeah.
Islam in a way too, because that's another topic. But it's like, man, you walk into the best coffee shop and the paint's not done properly
Yeah, definitely.
because the focus isn't the paint, the focus is the coffee. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like any good business, bro, I've been all around the world, and good businesses, of course, you want the paint to be all right, good,
Yeah, you want to.
but that's not your focus. Focus that, then you can have opportunity to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah,
If the food's good or the coffee's good, people are coming back.
yeah.
No one's
so-
gonna. I've never heard someone say, "I don't like the restaurant because of the paint on the wall."
Yeah, but if you have when you have a
Restaurant,
chance,
yes.
you should fix the paint when you have a chance
Yeah.
too, I guess.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
some it's their style. If it's their
Yeah.
style, it's a different story.
True.
yeah, 100%.
True. Inshallah. Go. We're gonna.
You know
we're
what's-
gonna.
I was going to come back to the topic.
Yeah. Because the thing is, I'm not a coffee person, so I'm just sitting here. I'm gonna be like the fans that are
Next
like,
time we
yeah.
can do a morning podcast. And
Whatever's
Yeah, done, bro.
Ashraf's he's a go-to hot chocolate. He loves hot chocolate. Ashraf, whenever we go for a cafe spot,
Wait, now what does he call him? Say it properly.
Chucky.
I've never said that. That's a bad one. That's
You
a
know,
bad one.
I was gonna ask though, Burak.
Yeah, bro.
In regards to like early on in your story, you said how like you were immersed with the sport and like you loved it to the point you couldn't like stop thinking about it. And obviously there wasn't much role models back then. You know what I mean? Like now someone starts, they can look at the likes of you guys like
Yeah.
Sam, and there's like people that have done it, you know? Like how was it with like your family and your environment when you're like, hey yo, I want to take this to the next step?
So, bro, that the next step was happened in uni probably, but like still uni, I never really said I'll make a career from this. Like, it wasn't like fighting. I was gonna do MMA at some stage, and then still think about it. People say it all the time to me, but it's like after I got married, I kind of like, and I just don't let it. I don't see it fit for my, you know, for my beliefs, and you know, and like my wife doesn't want me to do it, my mom doesn't want me to do it, so
Yeah.
It's enough of a reason.
it's but as an athlete, competitive athlete, as a fighter, I want to do it, you know, to test myself. But I feel like I'm not allowed to do it, you know. But going to that bit, like, it's like convincing your family. Like, I remember clearly parents will be like, man, you're doing it. It's like, I remember when I was 15, 16, they'll be like, not my mum, but my mum was always supportive because she's seen the benefit. She'll drive me to Coburg every day. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah, like, you know, and yeah, she's my hero. But that's another story. But
let's tap into that story.
yeah, we can. But people will say like, man, like, we're just not going to get you in here. What are you doing? You know, like, people say this. But I never fought too. I just doing it because I'm loving it so much. You know what I mean? It's doing so much for me.
Yeah.
I never knew, and I never planned for it to be my occupation. I never did, bro. But then I'm like, I think we need to make it happen.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Even how about, sorry,
go ahead, bro.
I was going to say like the uni years, because you weren't, you black belt, you said when you were 21.
Yeah.
So you finished school at 18. Those 3 years, like, did you study something else and finish a degree and be like, I might actually become an engineer?
No, so I did, I got into Bachelor of Education, and I pretty much finished it. I had 2 subjects left, and I kind of just opened my academy. I always wanted to go back, but now, like, it's a bit too late.
But you're teaching now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing. So you plan for something, Allah has another plan, I guess. And then, so and then my school is run by curriculum, lesson plans. It's run by a lot of things. So my background in that assists heaps. And I did my placements. I did everything. My portfolio was ready, everything. I submitted it. I could. But my uni, it took probably 6 years, 7 years, because I traveled a lot. I was a part of like the elite athlete program at Vic Uni. Yeah. And because I traveled, I kept getting extensions, failing subjects on purpose. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, nah, you know, and then just I'll focus on my comp, focus on this. I'm traveling, you know. So
what's the sickest place you went?
What do you mean?
Like, what's the sickest travel destination, bro?
Turkey, nah. Nah, bro. I've been a lot of places, bro. Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing.
You went Tokyo already established, and then Turkey, and then
Japan. I've been to Japan 5 times.
Allah.
And then
what's with people saying they've been to Japan 5 times?
Yeah.
No one ever goes to Japan and goes there once.
Is it that good?
Yeah, it's
that
true.
amazing?
No, I didn't go because it's amazing.
Okay.
I went because the competitions happened to be there.
Yeah.
I didn't intentionally go there.
Yeah.
Like the competition that was after to win,
yeah,
they happened to be there, and I stayed at the mosque there. You know what I mean? In certain trips, and I took my wife there once as well. But and then so Japan, I've been there a few times. Dubai, Abu Dhabi,
London.
I've been to the States 3 times.
How about
America.
Maybe it's an easier question. If you had to go somewhere for a holiday, not for a comp.
He's Turkish, bro.
No, but he just was in Turkey like 3 weeks ago. But how
Yeah.
keen are you to go back?
Turkey, bro.
Look, bro, to be honest, I'm actually looking forward to going on a trip just for as a holiday. Like even this trip, I went to compete in Wales. I came back, I did a small break in Turkey with my family. Alhamdulillah, it was amazing. But it's like, you want to go for a holiday. You want to have the intention just to go for a holiday. I think people should take this serious too, because it's like, treat everything for as it is. And because post-comp, pre-comp, you're a different person, especially at our level. At the highest level, it's like that. And you're a different person, so you need to make sure.
So where would you go?
Enjoyed heaps. Bro, I don't know, man. A lot of options in Turkey. Because Turkey, every city is a different country for me, personally.
Yeah.
So I would want to explore. And it's a Muslim country, more comfortable. But
History.
I think Bali, Indonesia, Malaysia, there's good spots there, I heard.
Because you're now speaking, we know obviously like a national champion here in Australia. Congrats, by the way. Like, mashallah, you've had your accomplishments here. Yeah. How is it on the
17 times? Thank you very much.
I don't know if he wants me to like.
How
many? Some people don't like compliments. They get.
Give him his
I
flow.
can't do the 17 times. Cause
it's just.
So, how'd you win the first one, the second one? You gonna tell us the story of each?
So it's like
the first couple, and then
so I've been doing. So you don't. So it's not 17 years. So it's like that's not 17 years. So there's a lot of different national championships in the country. But since I was 13, 14, I've been competing till I'm 27 now. So I've always entered my division, like a different weight division, because there's an open class and then there's gi, no gi. So I kept entering different divisions every year. So by the end up to 17.
Yeah.
But it's like I did a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt.
Okay.
So like you see on some Instagram bios, like white belt wins it, like I'm a national champion. But it's white belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But winning it at every level and then adding them together, that's what it ends up at. But
Inshallah.
it's not not that hard to do. Like it's, I don't know, like
It's easy for you to say.
like yeah, bro. Like it's like alhamdulillah, it's a great achievement. And when we counted it, we just happened to count it like a year ago, and it was like wow, it's 17.
Of those,
Alhamdulillah.
Of those 17, is there like a memorable one that like you cannot forget?
I won a lot. I've lost a lot of them as well. You know what I mean? I got a lot of bronze medals, silver medals. I remember losing first fight to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna lose. A lot of memorable, man. They're all memorable, but so many. But when I guess one of the first comps I did in 2 months of the training, I got a silver medal at the state championship, and then 6 months later, I won a Victorian championship. That was amazing. But yeah, those lower belt levels were more interesting. But I think there was one where I lost on a Friday, and I actually thought I can't. This sport's not for me. I actually thought this sport's not for me. I lost on a Friday, and I was really good, man. Like I was fighting the best in the country. I was beating the best in the country. Everyone was starting to talk about me. This was when I was a purple belt, which is probably I was 18 years old, 17.
Wow.
I never been overseas then as well. So I'm just like pinnacle of the country still. I lost. I was like, man, this is not for me. I went back home. I'm seeing everyone's posts, and it was Facebook was the place to post back then. And it's like I'm like, how did I lose, man? I kind of just gave up in the fight, you know. And next day, I fight the same guy again, and I beat him, like in a different, without the gi. And I really beat him, really like convincingly. And I was like, wow, man, I think I want to do this for life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, I think that's one memory. And then I've beaten a lot of good guys that became very famous now and etc. in the country. They're memorable, but they're not like, I don't hide behind them because they deserve where they are now, and my time will still come if I take the right steps.
Can you name
Everyone's
a couple?
plan's different.
Jake Matthews or?
Jake's my good friend.
Yeah.
Jake's a very good friend. He's actually very good to talk to.
Okay.
And we catch up a lot in a lot of different ways. And
That'd be good.
yeah.
I wanted to touch on like now you're talking about comps and obviously like you keep improving each time. So I wanted to know your like routines prior to a big comp. You know, maybe is when you play international level that's much bigger than here.
Yeah.
So maybe even like that, like what happens like a couple weeks out? Is it diet? Is it training methods? What's the game plan?
We can look at different aspects, but just some like so every martial artist has their own approach to certain things. You know what I mean? Like every black belt is their own black belt, and they have their own approach of the way they train, the way they feel. Like some athletes will go on mountains, some people go into ice baths, some people do just go in there with like run with boots like Ali, and like there's a lot of different ways to do it. But I feel like now I'm starting to find my own methods for the past 3-4 years, and it's happening, and I'm still adjusting a lot of things. But lately it's been the mental aspect, like sports psychology, preparing your mind to be the best you can be at that moment. Because it's like 10 minutes of action, and your life doesn't depend on it, but it's like it's the fruit of all your hard work in 10 minutes to display it. So if you're not in the right mind frame, and then to be in the right mind frame, you have to do all the work necessary. You know what I mean? You can't not do the work and think you did the work and go in there, because when you go in there, you can't think you did the work because you know you didn't.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
So recently it's more disciplined schedule and sticking to it. Especially this last experience, it's like, okay, I got to make some changes, take some burden off my shoulders. You know what I mean? Keep my circle tighter. You know what I mean? And the circle of trust, circle of making decisions, circle of training even. You know what I mean? and then you take the steps necessary. But diet, of course, everything. Like I don't have a particular diet. I don't. But when I'm cutting weight, like I cut weight to 77. Alhamdulillah was the easy one because I just like cut carbs, like bread out of my diet, and I was eating clean, and I'm training really hard. So your body just gets into definition. I didn't really. Of course, I did like my blood test and everything, but yeah, it's just about lifestyle. Like if you can add it to your lifestyle, and then towards competition, you just take it up a level. You know, I'm not like a camp fighters. We call them camp fighters and the lifestyle fighters. Like Nate Diaz is a lifestyle fighter.
Yeah.
He'll do marathons every week.
Paddy Pimblett is
he's a different, so so there's examples, like he'll do a marathon and then he'll smoke weed on the marathon. Yeah. And then he'll compete the next week because he's kind of ready. Yeah. And he might win. Is he 100%? Maybe not, but he's probably 60-70% constantly. So that's kind of me because it's my lifestyle. I'm teaching, I'm living it, I'm teaching classes, but I'm always training. Yeah.
How do you work, like, for example, you've been a black belt for 6 years. So now you're saying, like, mental improvements. How do you, like, who even teaches you after you've been a black belt for 6 years? Or is it, like, is the other side, is it outside of BJJ that's making the biggest improvement? Because I listen to a lot of people, like, and they just say, like, on the basketball court, I have my coaches and stuff, but it's more outside. Yeah. Like, make sure I'm stress free, make sure I'm getting good sleep, making sure I'm getting, you know.
It's a combination, and as you get more mature, your decisions become more mature, and you start to feed yourself in that sense, because you have to, man. Like when you're in there, it's you, but of course your coaches play a good role. Like I've been with my coach for years, and but to get to certain levels, you got to make certain sacrifices, certain changes, and then your coaches respect that decision because they know what's happening, etc. But it's more, jiu-jitsu is a very different martial art. So you have to constantly be self-improving. You know what I mean? Self-improving, self-studying, you know, you got to maintain your passion. When your passion goes, you got to say, this is my profession, you know what I mean? And you got to keep going. Yeah, man, just always the white belt mentality on the mat with your students, you know what I mean? Like you speak to world champions, how they've become world champions is through their surroundings, really. And a lot of them, they'll prepare for world championships with really good guys, and they'll prepare them with mediocre guys. Yeah, it's about how you feel too. You know what I mean? Like, I can train with the best guy in the world, but if I don't have a good feeling about him, I won't improve in that class. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I can have the best guy in the country in my training partner, but if he's training to kill me, or if he's training to compete against me, then it's like, nah, stay away from me. And these things, you learn these things over time. 100%. You know what I mean? It's about the vibe and the atmosphere and me wanting the best for you, you wanting the best for me. And sometimes the guy you mostly improve with doesn't have to be the best in the country. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think it's like this with everything. Yeah. So, core circle, and to be honest, you're trying to achieve something 1% of the world is probably achieved. Yeah. In a sport. Yeah, the 1%. You know what I mean? The 1% of this sport, of martial arts. But then, of course, everyone's trying to achieve 1% in whatever they do, I guess, if they're trying to. But, yeah, so that's kind of the mental aspect. We can go into, like diaries and scheduling and whiteboards, but no need for that. You know?
Just for reference, if somebody doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu, what is, like, the holy grail? You know, there's UFC heavyweight champ, or lightweight champ, whatever it is. What's the holy grail for a person who does jiu-jitsu? So I know that there's gi and no gi competition. There's free weight. There's also like I don't know, there's weighted competitions obviously. But like, what's like the number one?
So right now, to get? It's the ADCC World Championships, which is the no gi. It's like the Olympics of grappling, but again, grappling is very evolving. So with our sport, it's there's so many different rule sets, so many different approaches, so many different organizations, federations. Most mainstream is ADCC, and it's becoming very mainstream now. But it just keeps changing constantly. So it's not like you can fight someone and then you can find a different rule set the next. So it's a bit it's professional. Yeah. But it's getting to that mainstream level now because it's such a complicated art. People are still trying to work out the best promotions. But so far, this has been the most prestigious. Yeah. And whoever medals there or wins there is usually.
So it's kind of like boxing. There's WBA, ABCD, EFG.
But it's getting more and more mainstream, more popular. And it's a thinking man's sport. So the crowd of that is very different. That's why like MMA is very very attractive for guys like me, because it's like fame. Yes, for them, like fame. If you look at fame, you win a world championship in grappling, and then you win 4 fights in MMA. That won't add up to that. So with my personality, my character, I win a world championship in grappling. I solidify myself as the best, or one of the best in that division, let's say. For me, it's the biggest achievement, because I've kind of... But if I want fame, I can jump in the cage, you know what I mean, choke a few people out, let those videos get viral as a black belt, and boom, here you go.
Yeah.
It's not as attractive.
You double, triple probably, you know what I mean, your following, etc., your fame. Because the people that watch MMA are very different to people who watch real martial arts. Yeah. MMA guy could be sitting with a beer in his hand and a belly, sit down and say, he should have kicked, man, he should have done this, punch him in the face, do this. So this is an art, you know what I mean? And I feel like, of course, the ones that carry themselves like Khabib, and it's different. We don't know how they've handled themselves. And you see the brotherhood, etc. But it's so it's like, for me, it's very attractive because it's just there. It's just reach.
Yeah.
But I feel like, for me, if my brother does it, like Khabib, for example, it's as if I've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, we're really close with Jake, and he does it. Like he's not a Muslim, but he does it, and it's like as if I've done it, because me and Jake grew up training together when we were like 13.
Yeah.
And so I have these. I satisfy myself with close friends, or like someone like Khabib, for example, because they've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. You feel like you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No, you don't have to. But of course, I want to be the best, and that's for me, bro, because you can convince others of everything. I can convince right now, like I convince everyone I'm the best in the world. Yeah. Seriously, the way I talk, the things I've been through, the places I've traveled, people I've met, the people I've submitted, done this, I can convince. But deep down, I know I'm not one of the best in the world yet. You know what I mean? But I'm aiming to be. So that's why like the 17 or 20 or 15 doesn't affect me. You know, like, because I want to do it for myself. Like I want to actually say, man, I want to look back and say, I tried my best. Alhamdulillah, I did it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's how it is, bro.
Like one of the craziest things that I learned when I did jiu-jitsu, like the beginning, was like, you know how you just start off, you roll a couple times and you do a couple back and forwards with some guys, and then you don't lose first 3-4 times. You feel like, I'm on a roll, 4-0 in your head. You're counting as if you're like you're a UFC fighter. You're on a belt because you're like 4-0, and then you cross paths with one guy who catches you in something unorthodox, and then you're 4-1. You're like, I'm actually terrible. I'm the worst at this, you know. And then your ego starts to get to you. You're like, the next time I see that guy, me and him, we have to do it again. And he taps you again. And you bro, I don't know if you know Shamit?
Yeah, of course.
Shamit is, bro, the most. He humbled me the most I've ever seen in my life.
He's humbled me too.
He's 63 kilos.
He's small.
MashaAllah, 63 kilos.
Not too close, just comfortable.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Shamit's
some more water?
He's
No,
like
I'm
Ashraf
good.
before he went in the gym.
Yeah.
So Ahmed.
That's not nice.
Ahmed's probably bigger.
Let's carry on with this. But Shamit's like 63 kilos. And I remember going to the gym going, bro, I've been ragdolling guys twice his size. Easy money, yeah? He climbed up on my back, choked me with my own gi. I didn't know what happened. Took him like 15 seconds.
So what I do when new people walk in the gym, like I used to be like this. When I wanted to prove jiu-jitsu works, first I had to prove myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I remember when I was teaching in Greenville, and that's where I kind of started teaching. And then one day, I was in Japan, and then I came back. And then on Friday night, and my boys were like, man, someone came, and they challenged us, and something happened. And I was like, what happened? I was like, so where's your coach? They're like, come in the mat, train. And they're like, my coach is in Japan. Okay, when you come from Japan, I will come back. And then I came back, and then a few weeks later, someone rocked up with like a weed gi and a black belt, you know what I mean? And then he's like, you the coach? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the coach, you know? So do you want to train? I go, yeah, well, good. I go, you want to train? He goes, yeah. I go, okay, jump on. I go, but take the belt off, man. Like, take the black belt off and wear this belt, you know what I mean? I gave him a white belt. Because it wasn't jiu-jitsu. It was like a Jack Kondo or some other martial art. So, and then he gone, he was training, and I partnered him up with another coach that was on the mat. And then they're drilling, and then I'm like, I think I gotta fix this guy up today in my head.
Humble him.
Yeah, but big boy, like a big boy, and he's done martial arts. So, and I rolled him, and more of my boys are like watching. And back then, like they're young and they're watching, and I'm just like trying to make a point. So I submitted him a few times, and then he's like, "What if I start on top?" Okay, you start there, submit him again, and then I'm trying to make a statement, and then I'm like, okay, I got to make a bit more statements. So he's like, "What if you start standing?" We start standing. I flip him, I make noise, and then everyone's like, "Oh," and then like I'm rolling in the corner, and my shooters are still training, but they stop training, just looking. You know what I mean? But I know they're looking, and it's good for them to see. But and then he goes, "What if I punch?" I go, "Okay, you punch." I won't punch, and again I put him to sleep. Like I didn't put him to sleep, but I choke him and I armbar him a few times, and then he goes, and like, "What if I punch you when you're on your back?" When I try to slap, I go, "Okay, all good, man. Like just wear these gloves, try to do it." And then again, I keep doing it, and then he never came back after that. You know? But it's like back then, I guess I've kind of had to prove. And then my coach's era, like he had to do it more, and then the Gracies had to do it more and more. You know what I mean? I kind of did it, but now I don't do it anymore. I just give the smallest guy into the room, like a 15, 16-year-old. He humbles him. So now I don't even have to humble him. So it's professional. You come in, you don't even have to train him. The guy already knows what jiu-jitsu is. He sees it for himself, and you don't need to humble. You don't need to bash anybody. Because for me, I want everybody to train.
Yeah.
I don't want the tough guys to stay only.
Yeah.
Tough guy that needs humbling should melt anyway with the atmosphere and the environment. I shouldn't have to beat him up for him to keep coming. He should already know, and in time we'll find out. But everybody should practice. That was the first approach. Yeah. You got to prove it. Like Pedro Sauer, our coach, my coach's coach. There was a Gracie challenge, so they put it. If you search Gracie challenge, $100,000 if you can beat a Gracie.
Okay.
In America, on the newspapers. They put it, if you can beat a Gracie, you get $100,000. Yeah. No holds barred, like anything. So Pedro's like, "Man, we used to sit amigo." He goes, "We sit in the garage, and then someone knock, they show the newspaper. He's like, "Okay, go to the garage, I'm coming." Where's his gi? Takes him out. Takes him out. That's his life. Literally, when he first went to the States. And they had to, but in a way. But now, you don't have to do. So if you do it, it's out of arrogance, and it's out of trying to prove a point or bully.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't beat up anybody. And, of course, we train hard with my students. We go after each other. You've seen videos and stuff. I'm trying to post more as well. But, yeah, but that's different aspect. But we don't want to beat up any newcomer. Because I feel like the art can be presented in such a complete way for everybody to practice it.
Yeah. You said everyone, not just the tough guy, and I know for at least like maybe these brothers have a bit more martial arts experience, but a lot of our friends, we always talk about wanting to learn a bit of self-defense. And everyone's like, what should I start? Should I start kickboxing? Should I start BJJ? Should I start this? And everyone has their own opinion, like their knowledge. Really, a lot of times the best thing to start is just something instead of just nothing. Yeah. But then how about like BJJ? What's, because you obviously,
So you call it BJJ, you call it jiu-jitsu, grappling, self-defense, wrestling. It's all in it now. You know what I mean? And, bro, to be honest, people should just get active, like regardless. They should do everything and just get out and get sweating every day. You know what I mean? Me personally, if I don't sweat more than 40 minutes a day, I just feel depressed.
Yeah.
And even me, like I go, man, and I speak up, I go, no, I'll have a day off. You feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's for everybody because it's like there's a lot of scientific research and stuff that's not my field, but I know it makes me feel good and it feels me more.
The mental aspect of it.
And same thing, like Fajr and wake, all these things, and then training early in the morning, the benefits of it and everything. It all interlinks, I think. Everything interlinks. Can we do it all the time? We can't do it all the time, but it interlinks. So you should just start regardless. But for me, my goal with my academy, my association is to make it accessible for everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? And because that 1% that want to be world champion, they'll make themselves known to you. They will come to you. And I want everybody to learn from it and take from it because I genuinely believe it's from the beginning of time till now, it's been done. I believe this. Like this art has been done since then. So every human should have a taste of it. But it has to be presented well. Yeah. With good characters, good people. It should be served well to the community, to the people. And once it's done that, and once you attend the right class at the right place, you shouldn't be able to stop. You should be continuing. Yeah. And yeah, of course, you'll have bad experiences, bad environment, bad all sorts of people, because anyone can learn jiu-jitsu. You can't say not learn. You know what I mean? That was like a big issue at one stage, because people will use it in the States for other reasons, etc.
Okay.
So it's like you can't choose who you give it to, really.
Yeah.
But of course, we do like criminal check, we do all these things.
All that kind
You know
of
what I mean?
stuff,
And we do, and yeah,
Have you dealt with performance anxiety
yeah, for sure.
before? And how did you deal with that?
Still
Because
dealing with
obviously,
it.
say again.
Still dealing with it.
Still dealing.
So
with
I probably had over 400 fights in total, and I'm still getting nervous. The butterflies are still there. Now I use it as excitement, and try to do the work in so I don't get. But I speak, man. I speak to people. I speak to like close friends. I speak to mentors. I speak to some of my close friends are sports psychologists.
Yeah.
They live overseas. You got to find a way to deal with it, but it never ends. It's the funny thing. Look, you listen to George St. Pierre. It's very obvious. He just goes, "I hate every second of it."
Yeah.
Because I hate it, and you do. You actually go, "I hate it." And you listen to like Hicks and Gracie, another legend. The new generation won't know him because they spend too much time probably on Instagram. You know what I mean? And Hicks and Gracie probably doesn't have a big following, you know.
Yeah.
But he goes, I'm scared of everything. Like, the toughest guy in the world, man. Like, how you scared of everything?
Yeah.
Fear. I fear everything. Like, how? You know? So I'm always nervous. Always, man. Always. I'm still trying to deal with it. But just their approach, try to think post-fight, trying to think what's going to happen after, see the positive aspects. Just try to think of the worst case scenario, because you're not going to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's going to do anything to your family. No one's going to. So all these things is like they calms you down. Like your life's not dependent on that 10 minutes.
True.
So these kind of approaches, win or lose, it's not going to change who you are in a circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I gonna want to win? Yes. Is there an option not to win? No, there's no option not to win. Because any time you give yourself an option not to win, you're gonna lose. Like it's happened to me a lot. You know what I mean? You take it easy on the guy, or this happens, or you go, if I don't win, no. You just got to always. Then whatever happens after, you deal with it because you're mentally prepared.
It all goes back to also the lifestyle and the amount of work and
Exactly,
preparation
bro.
that leads up to like the fight. It's like guys that look at, I don't know if you know much about like basketball and stuff. It's like Ray Allen's like game-winning shot in Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dwayne Wade goes to people. He goes. The funny thing is, people think that's like a lucky shot. You know, a game on the line, like point whatever amount of seconds on the thing, and he goes. But I've seen him practice that like 1,000,000 times.
See that?
And so for him to get that in is like nothing, no different. You know.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to like the habit of things.
It's a psychology, bro, and I feel like now I'm tapping into that. It's from experience and from living that lifestyle, I guess. It's like no one becomes a world champion and starts to live like a world champion. You have to live like a world champion before you become one. And I feel like I'm starting to adapt that into my life for the past few years. And I feel like now my losses are building me more than my wins. You know what I mean? And they're using me in different aspects. And yeah, bro, that's the aspect, because it's like you got to structure your life, and then when it happens, okay, it just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you see people win Oscars or win certain things, they just go, you know what I mean? Because they're just, and I can relate to that, because you're trying to adapt that, you're trying to become that, I guess, in your field, you're trying to be, and anyone that wants to do that in their own field is going to understand that. Or else, if you're not adapting, if you're not chasing that 1% in your field, which I think all Muslims should, you know what I mean? All of us should, all humans should be chasing that 1% in their field to be the best, bro. Then you can relate, and you don't judge anybody. You know what I mean? Definitely. And even the worst of them, you don't judge them, because you know what's possible. And a lot of examples, you know.
I don't know if you want to wrap it up or you're going to
There's always
There's a lot, bro.
Yeah, but you touched on your YouTube, because I feel like that's the direction you've been going on. Have you seen his videos you've been making?
Yeah, what's
the
what he's reckon?
Yeah. It's actually quality, bro.
Bro, we've been trying to do something, and we're like, man, we just need Burak's editor. Who does the editing for you?
So right now it's in-house. So right now we got a few of my boys my brother, we just film and we find different sources, like different editors. We're trying to get it in-house. You know, we're trying to find someone to hire full-time, but a few of my guys are very gifted. Like, we've got VK Graphic Design, Volks, and he's like the behind-the-scenes man, like the logo and branding and everything else. He's a close friend of mine too, and he's trains with us. My brother, of course, and like all my like coaches, instructors have an input on it as well, like Musti, Meme, Adam, and but we want to make it in-house because we have our own style, and I feel like I'm very good at, I feel like sharing my, not good at it, but I feel like I'm good at vomiting out my ideas.
Yeah.
And my approach to certain things, and I got to find an editor that really understands that.
Put it together as a story.
Puts it together as a story, and I'm getting close. You know what I mean? But right now, we've delayed some content release, but we're trying to get there. Yeah.
How come you started? Because like before, we're speaking about how sometimes you're trying to compete, you're trying to teach, and you like too many things on.
You know what I said? The doco, actually yes. So the doco is done by a close friend of mine, Semi. They started Studio Tempo. They started like a filming
I sent it to the boys.
Yeah,
I just sent it when I saw you getting recorded for it.
Yeah. So 20 minutes. It's gonna be like a 20-25 minute doco. It can come out anytime now. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
Well, if it does come out, we'll promote it as well.
For sure. But it's very touchy. It's a good one. So they're helping me, guiding me, and once they're set up, they're probably gonna be the main guys editing, and they've edited a lot of my stuff as well. But I feel like I needed to start it because that's where the world's going.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I don't document it now, 20 years later, I'm going to regret it.
100%.
And if I had the chance to document everything that I've been through all around the world, it's crazy, man. Like, I could share it, but it's never going to be the same as being documented, yeah?
Definitely.
Inshallah, in afterlife, we'll watch it.
Definitely, inshallah.
But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, certain things documented. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
imagine someone documented those wars.
Crazy,
definitely, bro.
Imagine someone documented certain things. So it's like, it's not to be famous or this. It's just, I want to document it because it's just what it's meant to be right now. If you want to be there, and if you want to get to that level, it's all a part of it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you see the ones that are doing it, you see what's happening to them, because people are relating to who they are, and their brand is beyond their accomplishments.
I guess it also tells your story better than you can say it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, bro.
Like, people can watch exactly what you do and how much effort it takes to get to where you are, and not have to actually hear it from you saying it's a lot of hard work. They're gonna say, okay, what does that mean? I've heard that a billion times, you know. And like, here you go.
And bro, keeping it like keeping it the way we should be keeping it. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the term. I don't know. It's like religious business owner or religious sportsman. You know what I mean? I feel like we're just a Muslim, and we do the way a Muslim should be doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like running our business, running our shop, running our YouTube channel, running our issue. It's not like, oh, Burak's religious or he's religious. It's not. I'm a Muslim, and if certain things are permissible, not permissible, that's it. Like, you look at Khabib's YouTube, look at it. You don't see one photo of his wife anywhere, bro. You don't know the name of his kids. Of course, we'll never get to that level of fame. It's a different level, and I don't want to, you know. But like, and it's dangerous. But look how he handles it. You hardly see him topless. You probably don't, unless he's in the cage because he has to. You don't see his knees, or you don't see like, or it's just. But at that level, he's not a perfect Muslim. Of course, everyone has flaws, but you look at it. It's not like he's just doing what he's meant to do. And inshallah, if we can do that somehow, like, I'm not a religious no, it's just we just try to do our best.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, bro? And I go, okay, this kebab shop's religious. Let's go there. This guy's, no, bro, he's just a Muslim. You know, he has to provide a prayer rooms and all these things, whatever it is. It's like doing it, not doing it for his business. He's doing it because he's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the YouTube, we're doing it. We're gonna try to do it as natural as possible. It's hard, but being in front of the camera. And,
all the best, man. Success,
things,
inshallah.
Yeah, but like having like brothers like you guys and coming here, it's motivated me too, bro. Like in a lot of different ways, and hopefully we can bond beyond the camera
100%.
too, inshallah. And
bro.
and bro, like, you guys are genuine. That's why I guess you guys at this level, and inshallah, may Allah give it more, you know. And you guys keep growing, and it'll be fun
Appreciate
to see, bro.
I have to come with you overseas, bro.
Yeah, why not?
I have to.
Yeah, I was trying to catch up with you guys there, but
Whenever we want to go Brazil or something, let me know. I'm down.
Or Turkey.
Wallah.
I actually haven't been to Brazil, bro. I
Never?
actually haven't been to Brazil. Like I've been a lot, but I haven't been to Brazil where juice is from.
Surely it's on the
Yeah.
bucket list.
Not anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because I beat a lot of Brazilians. I don't know.
they're crazy there, bro.
Yeah, but the Brazilians are very good, man. They're very good. They did a lot for the art. But the best in the world right now, some of them are Brazilian, not all of them. Yeah.
Last question before we wrap up.
Faddal.
What is the craziest maneuver you landed on one of your opponents?
Oh, I did a lot.
A twister? Surely. you haven't
No,
got a twister.
I did a lot of like flying stuff in competition.
Yeah.
I've seen some of them
yeah, yeah.
actually.
I got like some flying arm bars. Like, probably should be more viral, but yeah, maybe later when I get a bit more notice, it'll be a bit more viral. But I did, like flying arm bars. I did like flying triangles, flying submissions, and I broke a lot of arms in competition. I didn't mean to break them, but like, and I'm very gentle with my submissions, really. In competitions, but very different.
So I don't hurt you.
Yeah, but not break. It just in comp. It just happens to hurt a bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, the flying armbar, probably flying triangle. Because I feel like even like in jiu-jitsu, in this art specifically, your character, you expose your character when you grapple.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in this.
Yeah.
Because you're stressed. When you're stressed, you expose yourself. Flaws, good, doesn't matter. So I rush into things as a person, and I'm just get very excited. So when I fight, I'm very similar.
Yeah.
I rush, and that cost me a lot of time. So I'm handling that now. But it rewarded me big time too, because I've seen an arm and I just jump on.
Yeah.
So I catch it. It looks cool. You know what I mean? So I've been rewarded for it
It's
too.
like your greatest weakness is also your greatest strength.
So once
Yeah,
you understand that,
absolutely.
and I'm starting to understand that, so that's why now I feel like my career is getting very interesting for this reason. See, like it's just crazy how you can link things. Yeah.
Inshallah
Yeah.
soon, bro. Wallah.
Yeah.
We're going to watch the progress anyway. Me and him are probably going to end up at
Likewise.
the gym soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, inshallah.
Making it like a fair income Burak Wednesday night sessions.
Oh, let's see. On the mat, we'll talk on the mat.
I will just get slapped for 42 hours and just come home.
No. Just have fun, inshallah.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, it was an honor to have you, bro.
Yeah.
Likewise.
You know, it really, really meant a lot to us. Wallah, I really enjoyed this. If you're free now, we'll go out for dinner. I'll
Yeah.
chat. Well, I'll pull out even more questions. Maybe
Yeah.
FaceTime my brother. He'll ask questions.
Yeah. But it's an honor for me because I feel like authenticity and being genuine is a rare thing, like in this day and age. Yes, and when I've met authentic brothers, genuine brothers, I aim to not take them for granted, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like me and my brother are big on this, and our crew, like, you know what I mean. So I see that, and bro, and I like his better, and you see you guys, the figures you guys get on, and the people you guys get on, you guys pick really well, and it's everything's intentional. You can tell. And that shows your intention is at the right place. And yeah, it's an honor to be here, bro. Honored to spend time with you.
Obviously, we're gonna at the end just say where people can find you. But is there any like parting advice? Because I've seen like all over your gym, you got quotes in your videos, the back of your shirt, the blink. Like, is there maybe? How about I'll sum it up. If you could have like a billboard that everyone could read, what would you put on it?
So my walls are very plain, simple. Don't blink is just something
Obviously
it's been
for-
around, but that's
yeah.
just more for competition. My style of fighting. But like my wall, there's 4 things.
Okay.
One is 5 things. One is the logo, and then the 3 things is loyalty, honor, respect, on the white wall, and then the other one, the journey matters. So I feel like they're enough. You know what I mean?
Journey matters.
Yeah, and none of them were planned. Like I remember at uni, I was at placement, and I don't know if I'm on placement, and I was supposed, like I'm in class observing my mentor and placement, and I observed enough, you know what I mean. And then I started typing because I was getting my website ready, and I wrote like a first-person biography of myself just for the website, and then my friend was adding his own touches to it, my close friend. And then at the end, I'm like, the journey matters. I just wrote the journey matters, and then I wrote like Muhammad Ali's quote: "It's not it's not the mountains ahead to climb, it's the pebble in your shoe that holds you back." You know, that famous quote. And then I wrote the journey matters, just naturally. But I just wrote the journey matters, the title of at the end, and I made it the title of my biography. And because I was writing, I guess in that state, I just did it, bro, like naturally, and it just became my gym's thing. Like, and it means a lot, I guess. And you could take it any way you want. Probably that. I don't know.
It's beautiful.
It's up
bro.
there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All that does. L1's think progress, not perfection. So it's kind of
Nice.
down the same.
That's
Yes.
bro. That's interesting too. I was gonna talk to you. Like I was gonna ask you guys about that because, yeah, why just name it that? Because that's like, as an athlete or as a businessman or as whatever we're chasing, we want to be the best.
Yeah.
But being the best doesn't mean you're perfect.
I think
Yeah.
all of us are perfectionists.
Mm.
In saying that,
your personality.
yeah. I think that's something that we bond over because
Mm.
if you actually meet us, we're completely different human beings. We all have different, like besides the religion, the deen that brings us together and makes us, like obviously bond. But besides that, we all have this, you know, this quality to kind of, we want to be perfect. We want to be at we want to be at the highest level at what we do. And beyond that, it's like one thing that used to get us down a lot, especially when we were designing, for example, the logo took us like 4 months. The color for the background of the logo, 4 months. And the one thing that killed us so much was our chase for perfection, you know, our pursuit of perfection. And then we just go, you know what, boys, we're not going to be perfect at the beginning and we're not going to be perfect at the end. So why don't we just enjoy the process and just, you know, think, oh, okay, beautiful. Last week we were here. Next week we're there. Alhamdulillah, we're there in comparison to last week.
And did you think it'll be your motto for the rest of your business life?
I think.
Now you'll keep it for life, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
But
These
would you
egg-
think you will when you wrote it there?
It grows on you.
Yeah.
Like
But then
anything.
it grows, yeah?
It's like
Yeah.
you have it and then you start deepening it because you start implementing it. You say the journey matters. It's like you saying, I didn't think about black belt. And you would tell people, don't think about the next belt. Think about now, here on the mat, be present. And us, when we've wanted to start vlogs or extra videos, for maybe before we wanted the podcast, and we keep trying to perfect it, the video isn't up to our quality. And it's that kind of thing. It's like if we just say, think progress, no one's good at first. If I watch the video, you're 13, doing BJJ, you know, it's a joke. Like, as in, you'd know better than me. But it's that kind of thing. Think progress. So.
And like just in my journey, one thing, I think it's a good lesson because a lot of people think when you own your own business or when you do your own job or when you do your dream job, no one aims to do their dream. Like I feel like I never aim to do my dream job as an occupation. You get what I mean? So it's like, one day I'll study to be a high school teacher. I study English and Humanities, ESL. Supposed to be, you know what I mean? Of course I'm training hard, I'm traveling the world. But I never thought, man, I'll teach you one day probably, but never this early. So you just got to focus on the path and the rest just unfolds.
Definitely.
Because if you chase that lifestyle, it'll never come to you. And even if it does come, it won't be good for you. And there's so much examples. And I just focus on the path, keep going, and of course have goals, but don't like be attached to those goals. Because now, like even me, I'm not attached to the goals coming, but whenever I attach myself, I lose, bro. Like within me, I lose. Like it doesn't have to be a match. And I never planned them. People probably think, man, Burak planned everything. It should have happened this way, etc.
Yeah.
He did this first and that. I think he planned his way up. He planned his way there. He won this, he won that. 17, boom, boom, boom. He's got a school. Actually, nothing, bro. Literally nothing was planned. But I never made a decision myself too. Didn't plan, but I never made a decision myself. I had brothers, had mentors, constantly throughout the whole process. I think once you have that, bro, I think it's a recipe. You know? Yeah, inshallah.
Where can, obviously, people, if that's the first time they've heard about you, where can they find you or learn more about you?
Yeah,
Instagram, YouTube?
Yeah, my Instagram, my our business page, academy page.
What's the handle?
Sarman Academy, Burak Sarman. And my brother's one, Burak Sarman. Our website, Google, everything. It's easy these days, eh?
Well, they're very, very
Digital
easy.
footprint.
We'll link all of them,
Alhamdulillah.
inshallah.
Easy.
Bro.
Jazakallah khairan. I hope you guys did enjoy the episode as much as we did. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next Monday.